Written in Scars is out this week. It's been described as a bit of a change of direction for you. Would you agree with that?
I think the approach was different more than the direction. It's the first album. I saw a documentary with Paul Simon just before going into the studio, and they were asking him why all his albums are so different. And he said that he starts every album from rhythm. He falls in love with rhythms from usually a particular part of the world and then approaches the album like that. So I thought for this time, why not do that? Because usually it's the last thing I really think about. I mean, there's always rhythm involved in the songwriting process, but I always think about the songwriting first and then going in and laying everything else over. Whereas this time we would go into the studio, put down a bass line, a rhythm, and sort of the songs just kind of poured themselves out thanks to that. And it was great because I made the record with Seb and Pedro, who's my guitarist and drummer, plays drums with me sometimes, and we wrote together. And then Matt Benbrook, who's an amazing drummer, and Sam Dixon, who's an incredible bass player. So everybody involved was already kind of a rhythm section based. So I think that's what changed it up a little bit.
Where did the title come from?
We were writing this song, and it was kind of the time the song was inspired by sort of, I hate using this term, but world events. You know, it's hard to turn on the news these days without seeing people standing up for something. And I've always kind of thought about it. I was really worried about using the word revolution in that song, but I wanted to sort of bring home that we're all kind of a part of it. You know, we always talk about like if it's them, not us, it always happens somewhere else. But I think it's all as a result of all of our actions and all of how we live as well. So that's what I'm getting at with that expression. A lot of people have asked me, what does that mean? Oh, you a revolution? It's like, no, not at all. We're all just a part of a change that seems to be happening. And the song Written in Scars got that title because that line in it was me trying to explain what I meant by that. Because it's a personal thing as well. It's not just a revolution, a political revolution. It's also a personal revolution. It's that feeling when you're a band of brothers as well on the road. It's a lot of accumulative sort of things that it's kind of referring to. And these are all songs that have come from personal stories and personal scars, I guess you could call them. So when I had that name, I thought it was appropriate for the album because all these songs have kind of been written in scars. They all come from a place of not always struggle, but just, you know, through trying to, definitely with the idea of achieving something and going somewhere.
Sure. How long have you been working on it?
Over the space of a year and a half, because and that's what made it different as well. The last record I did, we recorded in 4 days, and we sort of locked the door, and we had to do it in 4 days because there was no money or anything. This one was more, I was on the road. I've been on the road for the last 2 years, so whenever I was back in London, any time I would go into the studio with either Sam, Maddie, or Pedro and Seven, and depending on who was available and who was in town, that's kind of how we worked it. So it was a very spread out album, but because of the process, it all worked. It all stayed together because I was approaching every song by the same kind of dynamic.
Who's been producing it? Are you doing it yourself, or?
No, I've been involved. I always try to be involved as much as possible, but the production has been done by. There's been 3 producers: Matt Benbrook, Sam Dixon, and Pedro and Seb, Pedro who plays guitar with me. They also produced. It was the first time we kind of worked together in the studio, and it was magic. It was the dream team for me of guys that I wanted to work with, and it was thanks to them. I think that the sound definitely evolved to somewhere without it being too. I mean, I didn't want to change what I do. I do what I do. It's never going to go that nuts, but I definitely wanted to work with people that pushed me a little bit more to a place where I maybe hadn't gone. And sometimes just by your approach, that seems to happen. You don't even have to force it. You just by starting something differently makes you do it differently. And it seems simple to me now, but at the time I never thought about that. So, and now I kind of take that with me everything I go. If I'm bored of doing something, just start it differently, and usually it goes somewhere else.
Makes sense. So you're in the middle of a UK tour now. What have you got beyond that? I mean, are you taking it elsewhere?
Yeah, we're going to Europe, which is really nice. It's the first time I've ever had an album sort of released in sync with everybody, where everybody's sort of in every different country sort of knows what's going on, and it's amazing to see that machine, I guess you could say, in action, because I've never seen it. And it's a bit daunting, you know, because suddenly you find out you're being played on radio in parts of the world you've never been, and they want you to go and play, and that's amazing. It's exciting, but it's also a whole new, you know, we've been touring so much the UK and parts of Europe and certain parts of the States that we know that so well, so going into new territories is always a little bit, I guess it's exciting, but it's always a bit daunting.
So, last question. What's the rest of 2015 got in store for you? Doing any festivals?
Yeah, we're going to be doing a bunch of festivals. I still don't know exactly which ones, but I know we're going to be very busy over the summer in the UK and across Europe. And we're just trying to play it. We're so excited to play this new stuff because it's so much fun to play live, because it is based so much by rhythm. It's great fun for the guys, and we have a great time playing it. So I think we're just going to try and be on the road as much as possible. And by the looks of it, I think we're going to be really busy. So it's great. We're going to have a job for the next year. So that's good.
We are the revolution.